Calaroga Shark Media.
Oh man, I can't wait to do today's show. Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. I could not wait to talk to you guys. There's like 5-6 stories that could be the top story, but let's start here. New Adam Sandler stand-up special. Oh my goodness, can't wait. Netflix released the trailer for Adam Sandler, Love You, his first stand-up special since 2018. Remember that one? I want to play the trailer for you, but Mr. Sandler apparently can't go more than 5 seconds without saying something naughty, so I'm not going to do that. I did share it in the Facebook group, which is Daily Comedy News Podcast Group, and boy, I'll tell you, Adam Sandler, just as funny as he's ever been. In the teaser, Sandler says, I talk a lot, and then I sing, and then we do a bunch of stuff, so all right, here it goes. And yeah, that's pretty much what Adam's act is and what the trailer is. He talks a lot, and then he sings and does a bunch of crap. Yep, I agree. In the trailer, Adam Sandler serenades the crowd with a riff of his guitar. Fans erupt in cheers. He then announces the song he's about to play was written about a man sitting in the audience. We then see a dog join him on stage. Mr. Sandler says, what the F is happening? That's why I can't play the trailer for you. Try and keep it clean over here, unless Alex Bennett's the guest. The trailer also features clips of Adam Sandler making funny faces, cracking jokes, I hope so, during a comedy special, and telling the crowd, I love you, before diving into another bit. Boy, this is exciting. Adam Sandler, Love You, Tuesday, August 27th on Netflix. Another thing that could have been the top story, the trailer for the Saturday Night movie is out. It looks great. I played this thing and I was like, oh, I want to see this. It looks fantastic. The casting in particular looks really on point. Vulture went through it and wrote down who played who. All right, Gabriel LaBelle as Lorne Michaels. To me, felt like Lorne Michaels without doing Lorne Michaels by way of Mike Myers, by way of Dr. Evil, you know, the Lorne Michaels impression everyone does. But this did it, and if you look at them side by side, it's really good physical casting. I won't read everybody. Matt Wood is John Belushi. You see Belushi in the background on the trailer, and just to the eyes look good. Dylan O'Brien as Dan Aykroyd also caught my eye on the trailer and looked like a really good Aykroyd. Corey Michael Smith as Chevy Chase. There's some Chase clips in the trailer. Same note. Ellen Hunt as Gilda Radner. Whoever did the costuming for this movie should get an Oscar. Is there an Oscar for costuming? If not, let's create one and give it to them. Matthew Rhys as George Carlin looked good enough, said some things that Carlin would say, but to me sounded like Matthew Rhys. Maybe I'm too close to all this. So I guess he's not really doing a Carlin impression there. My note would have been to get a little more gravel-y. I missed this one. J.K. Simmons is Milton Berle? Why? Nicholas Braun plays both Jim Henson and Andy Kaufman. I did catch the Kaufman clip in the background. Nicholas Braun, if you don't recognize the name, is cousin Greg from Succession. I would play the trailer for you, but it's all like quick visual things and just won't make sense here. But that is super exciting. Another thing that could have been the top story of the day, Kill Tony live tonight in Madison Square Garden, and not like the theater at. This is Madison Square Garden, where like the Knicks play and the Rolling Stones play. 2 shows, Kill Tony, Madison Square Garden. Last time I looked, seats were available. That is not a dig. It's just a thing. The article I'm cribbing off says night one prices start at $56.75. The Saturday night show is more sold out. Tickets starting at $338. Wow. Also could have been a top story. Nikki Glaser reacted when she found out Taylor Swift had to cancel her Vienna concerts in response to a terror threat. Did you hear this news? Police thwarted an ISIS plot to attack one of Taylor Swift's concerts. Nikki Glaser appears distraught in one image uploaded to her Instagram story, in which she shared Austrian promoter Barracuda Music and Taylor Nation's statement confirming the cancellation. She covered her face with her hands. In a follow-up post, she explained she had endured a 32-hour layover in Washington, D.C. before heading to Vienna for the show. Nikki and her sister Lauren recorded a video of themselves singing a song they made up, inspired by the past few hours, to the tune of Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer. The lyrics go, we were stuck at an airport gate on our way to Vienna on a flight that was late. Planning outfits and singing songs. We had no idea how things could go wrong. Then we get a text from our mom. The shows have been canceled from a threat from a bomb, and we screamed in a Hudson News. What the hell do I do with these bleeping sparkly shoes? I dyed my hair pink for nothing. We're effed. This is pretty scary. As the news goes, the suspects' plans, including driving a car into groups of Swifties expected to gather outside the venue, before attacking with machetes and knives. Security officials said the 19-year-old fully confessed to his plans to kill as many people as possible outside the concert venue. Pull the show back to comedy, John. All right, nothing funny there. Staying topical, Steve Martin will not play Minnesota Governor Tim Walz on Saturday Night Live. Steve Martin, who's 78 now, told the LA Times he turned down an offer from Lorne Michaels. He said Lorne called him on Wednesday to offer him the deal. Steve told the Times, "I wanted to say no, and by the way, he wanted me to say no. I said, Lorne, I'm not an impressionist. You need somebody who can really nail the guy. I was picked because I have gray hair and glasses." Paul Scheer tweeted, "Call me crazy, but I think one of the SNL cast members should play Tim Walz." This is interesting. Kelsey Cook had released her special, The Hustler, on YouTube, got 3 million views, but now it's going to Hulu. So you have been able to watch it, but now you get to pay to watch it. But I guess you get to pay to watch it without the commercials. I don't know. Maybe if you have the bad Hulu tier, you'll get commercials during it. Interesting move. It'll get her more eyeballs for sure. I haven't heard of a special going from YouTube to a streamer, so this is interesting. Kelsey said, "My whole life, my parents would stand me on a stool, so I'd be tall enough to see the top of the foosball table. Then they'd put their hands on my hands and teach me how to shoot it. It's the reason I exist, which is really sad, but I'm grateful to foosball." Comedy is competing against yourself, and I feel like that with foosball. Obviously, you're playing against somebody else, but I like sports where if something goes wrong, you don't have other people to blame. It's really on you to get better and do your best, so it's similar to comedy in that way. I'm smiling to myself. I had so much fun playing volleyball Wednesday night. Did we win? No, we never win. I'm picturing my late mother asking me, did we win? I would have this exchange every week. Did you guys win? No. And she would laugh and say, you never win. And no, I can't even tell you the last time we won a game. Did I mention I'm in my mid-50s? Kelsey Cook says, "It's funny, if you think of a meditative activity, you don't think of a beer-covered foosball table in the back of a bar, but if you're playing at a higher level, you can barely blink because the ball is moving so fast. You have to be locked in the entire game." It's the same with stand-up. You can't just be like, "Hey guys, can you just do your own thing for a few minutes while I check my phone?" You're locked in the whole time. All right, Jack Black has had a minute to see which way the wind is blowing, and the wind is now blowing in the other direction, so Tenacious D is back. You may recall that the other Tenacious D member, Kyle Gass, said something jerky after Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt. At that time, Jack Black immediately was like, all future creative plans for Tenacious D are on hold, as a backlash to the joke. But now, I love Tenacious D. We had to take a break, but I love the D. Everybody takes a break sometimes. He also announced this as he happens to be promoting the new film Borderlands, which apparently is really terrible. Funny how that all happens. Oh, I'm promoting a movie and Tenacious D is back, and everybody's kind of moved on from the Trump assassination attempt, which was, I don't know, 5-6 political stories ago. So yeah, whatever, Tenacious D's back. Way to hold to your principles, Jack Black. At the premiere of Borderlands, Jack said, "We're friends. That hasn't changed. These things take time sometimes, and we'll be back when it feels right." Borderlands, by the way, is a live adaptation of the video game of the same name, featuring Jack Black voicing a wisecracking robot. Also in this movie, Cate Blanchett and Kevin Hart, never afraid to work. Oh, let me take a breath here and just tell you, I wanted to jump right in because there were so many big stories. It's interesting doing the podcast. This was, except for today's show, a pretty slow week. You can sometimes tell if the episodes are a little shorter than other days and if you pay a lot of attention by what stories I put in there. But today's very newsy. The rest of today's podcast, very newsy. So I just want to point out, Sunday's podcast is also very newsy. I've been pretty open that I often pre-tape the weekends, and sometimes those stories are a little more ephemeral and not really tied to the news on a particular Saturday or Sunday. But this Sunday is a lot of stuff, some newsy stuff about Bill Burr that's in there that I just couldn't get to today. There's so much going on. Now, one thing I can't get today, there is an article in the Hollywood Reporter about the comedy industry and how the streamers are bidding for comedy. I have a lot to say about it. I've already recorded that section, and it is quite lengthy. So I'm holding that for Sunday's podcast. But again, Sunday's podcast, very robust, very, very, very interesting article in the Hollywood Reporter. So make sure you catch Sunday's episode, huh? Tomorrow's show is a preview of the Columbus Comedy Festival. I'm speaking with Walker Evans, who's putting it together. If you're into the business of all this and how a festival gets put together, pretty good. And I came away being very impressed by Walker Evans' comedy knowledge. He's not just some dude who's like, hey, let's put on a festival and make some bucks. He knows his stuff. So that's tomorrow. And then a lot of stuff spilled over into Sunday, which is a more robust episode than sometimes a Sunday episode might be. I'm also trying to be better about reminding you guys, I also host a podcast called 5 Good News Stories. It comes out 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And there's smile stories, happy stories, kind of what Krasinski was doing during the pandemic. Only good news. So that's called 5 Good News Stories, the number 5 Good News Stories. If you're in Pittsburgh today, so is Kevin Nealon. He's appearing at City Winery for 3 shows. Kevin tells a Pittsburgh City paper, my act is always evolving and I'm always trying to look for new avenues of comedy and originality. It's also conversational and not in-your-face kind of stand-up comedy or ranting. It's kind of a red wine comedy. I see, and you're at City Winery. I see what you did there. Nealon published a book in 2022 called I Exaggerate, My Brushes with Fame, a collection of full-color caricatures and humorous personal anecdotes. He says, it's a hardback. It's not a coffee table book. You can put it on your coffee table if you want to. He said, I wanted to get approval just as a courtesy from some of the people I painted. Steve Martin was fine with it. Jim Carrey was fine with it. I did one of Matt LeBlanc, and he texted me back. I'm honored, I think. Kevin was asked about SNL 50. Yeah, a lot of people will be asking anyone associated with SNL. We're going to talk a lot about SNL 50 in the next year. Kevin says, it's amazing that it's 50 years coming up. I can vividly remember walking in the lobby of 30 Rock and getting off the elevator and everything, even where my papers were placed on my desk. I do still keep in contact with Adam Sandler, David Spade, Dana Carvey, and Rob Schneider. And here's a good story, if it's even true. He one time filmed a commercial with professional golfer Arnold Palmer. Kevin says, I hung out with him for 2 weeks and chatted a lot. We became good buddies. We went into his clubhouse every day, and I sat at his personal table with him. One day, Arnold Palmer ordered the drink Arnold Palmer, which you may know is a mix of iced tea and lemonade. The server asked me what I want, and I said, a Kevin Nealon. Arnold asked, what's a Kevin Nealon? Kevin Nealon says, it's exactly like an Arnold Palmer, but a little taller and better looking. See, I should get out there, but there's a lot of news today. I can't bump these stories. I have to tell you about this one. Now, this event is happening tomorrow night, but I told you I've got Walker Evans tomorrow, so this has to go now. Former SNL cast members Lorraine Newman and Bobby Moynihan are joining James Austin Johnson in a live staged reading of Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. This at Dynasty Typewriter in L.A. Saturday night, but there are also live stream tickets. It is called The Great Camino Caper, a live reading of Attack of the Clones. The event is being staged by the George Lucas Talk Show, which is wonderful if you've never seen that, and the Star Wars Minute podcast. The reading follows a previous live reading from the same team who did the Phantom Menace back in May. So I guess that answers my question. Is Lucasfilm okay with this? Are the lawyers okay with this? Did you guys clear this? Apparently, yes, yes, and yes, because if they did the Phantom Menace in May and nobody called, they're doing this one. Interestingly, Bobby Moynihan has lent his voice to several Star Wars projects, including Resistance and Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. Lorraine Newman voiced a character in the 2011 video game Star Wars The Old Republic. Who knew? Also in the cast, actor Haley Joel Osment, Seth Green, and Matt Gorley from Conan's podcast. Now, however, remember the asterisk I dropped? James Austin Johnson announced via Instagram that he's homebound for the next couple days. He had to cancel a couple shows. He says, my doctor doesn't want me to fly until it passes, hopefully soon. What passes? A kidney stone. I had a horrible kidney stone once. I can't explain. You've heard people say this. I can't explain how painful it was. No, not the when it passes part. That's nothing. Just when it's clogging up your system, the pain. If you had said to me, hey, I have an axe, I'm going to put it in your skull, I would have been like, yeah, cool. It was like The Walking Dead. Like just, oh, I'm turning into a zombie. I can't take this pain anymore. It was awful. James says, it's truly a roller coaster of pain and meds. Sometimes it feels like bad constipation. Sometimes it feels like I've been sabered in the gut. I remember I had so much pain that I was sitting on the bathroom floor puking into the toilet from the pain, and the puking made the pain go away, and I just closed my eyes and fell asleep on the toilet. But it was so bad. I can't, James, I'm so sorry. I understand your pain. However, he said his doctor expects him to be better by the time of the Attack of the Clone show. So we'll see if he shows up on Saturday. And he's also supposed to appear at LA's Largo at the Coronet on August 12th with very special guests. Also on the mend, Brett Goldstein. He had to cancel some shows. Does he have kidney stones? No, he has the flu, which he says affected his voice. In a statement, Brett Goldstein says, the doctors told me I won't be able to get through the shows this weekend, and annoyingly, I need my voice to do stand-up comedy. I should have trained as a mime. I'd hate to put on a lackluster show where my voice stops working and I have no energy, and y'all deserve better than that. I'm truly sorry to have to cancel, and I don't take for granted for a second that you bought tickets and made plans. It means a lot to me. I was excited to be there with you. If you had tickets for the Saturday show, that is now rescheduled for Friday, August 23rd. If you had Sunday, you can go to the 10 p.m. show on August 23rd. If you can't make either, you will get a refund. In a statement, Brett said, it's not goodbye. It's see you in a couple weeks when I'm all better. Please forgive me. And if you can't make the new dates, you will get a refund. And that is your comedy news for today. Pretty robust for a summer Friday, huh? Check the timestamp. Yeah, this was a long one. All right. Tomorrow, Walker Evans, Sunday, pretty robust for a Sunday. And I can tell you already, Monday is good because I've been writing a bunch of these. And if you're driving cross country this weekend and you find yourself in the middle of the desert listening to Daily Comedy News, I appreciate you. See you tomorrow.